Rippers. A concept that, depending on who you are, may mean very well nothing or everything to you in the world of VRChat. So with all this talk about Ripper contests that we'll be talking more about later into this video, I think it's about time that we have a good discussion about Rippers and how they could potentially affect you and your friends. So, with that said, you beautiful sons of guns, let's get into it. Basically, at its core, ripping is when somebody goes into the information of a game and essentially yoinks the assets of something particular. So an example is when a stand of Crash Bandicoot might yoink the assets from Crash's model to use in other ways. Ripping itself is actually quite harmless, as it rarely ever affects the original medium in a negative manner, but it's when you put it into the context of a social game like VRChat is when it becomes a problem. VRChat is a game that is carried by its community by adding new worlds, games, and even avatars. Wait, what was that last one? Yes, avatars. Undoubtedly one of the most expressive ways somebody can represent themselves online. Some avatar creators such as myself put countless of hours into their project to ensure that it comes out the way that we'd like. Which is why someone coming and yoinking the assets to my project is sort of problematic. Oh, and to add on to this, as I said earlier, there's apparently a contest between a bunch of mouth breathers to see who can rip the most avatars in hopes to get a little bit of Discord Nitro. There are sites where people upload these avatars too, and that of course means that people can sadly download them. You can also even check if your avatar was ripped itself by searching through these sites, as they allow you to, well, search by the original author. With that said, a lot of my friends and I myself have been ripped at some point, which is a bit sad. It is weirdly ironic to me that one of the main concepts that kind of held up the VRChat community before everybody had custom avatars is, well, the same thing that everybody's fearful of now. With that said, well, what to do? Well, there's two different routes you can go with this information. There are those who can see ripping as inevitable and just don't care, or you can try your best to prevent it. The latter is much harder, yes, but not necessarily impossible, as from what I understand when it comes to ripping avatars, they have to basically be in the instance with you, which means that if you stay out of pub lobbies or just stick around friends, well, it does wonders. At least that's what everybody thinks. Usernames. That's all it can take for some rippers. Yep, it can be that simple sometimes. It is still worth mentioning the fact that staying out of pubs can still theoretically lessen the blow when it comes to rippers just because of the fact that you are showing off your username a lot less. But with that in mind, there still is another option. Certain people have come up with anti-ripper assets that you can put on your avatars. My friend Blizzy brings up an example of Con and Protect in this video that I'll be linking down below. These bad boys basically just scramble up your avatar if somebody tries to rip it like an omelet. Sure, this isn't exactly a foolproof plan, and people can get around it if they know what they're doing, but that's the thing. A lot of these people are just script kiddies that don't really know much, and it's definitely not worth the effort. Ultimately, it's up to you what you want to do. I just want to make a short video talking about rippers since they can be very problematic for some. Not only due to the amount of time some people put into their avatars just for some sort of basement dweller to steal their entire project, but also the fact that those projects conceal a lot of information and assets from places like Gumroad and Booth. And a corporation can suck it all I care if they're upset about somebody stealing their assets for their models, but the thing is that it's a little bit different when it's somebody's base models or clothing or assets that an individual creator made. So this is the part of the video where I should probably be talking about, how VRChat should do something about this, but sadly I don't think there's really much that they can do because ripping is sort of an inevitable when it comes to games. My only recommendation that I can give VRChat themselves is maybe making a scrambling device that can be used innately in the creator companion tool, so it's actually worth a damn for once. Other than that, I'm kind of shooting blanks when it comes to this situation, so leave a comment below on what you think VRChat could potentially do, or if you have any recommendations. Anyway, with that said, I think that wraps up basically this little informational video. I just felt like it was right to say something about this, as this does affect my content quite a bit since I go into public lobbies a lot for my stuff, and also my VR meetups and everything as well. As for the Ripper contest itself, I sort of just recommend staying out of pub lobbies for a while, as, you know, I'd rather not get my avatar ripped at any moment. Anyways, with that said, honestly at the end of the day, all I can ask is a wonderful night tonight, and as always, stay dapper.